What's up, core reporters? Welcome back to my channel. Listen, it's time to recap this week's episode of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup. Per usual, I watched the episode using Philo, which is an online streaming platform like Netflix, Hayu, Peacock, you name it. They've got all the reality shows, including Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup. I've got an affiliate link in the description box of this video if you too would like to sign up for a free trial to watch the show or others like it. So, for those of you who didn't see my prior videos, I am in Canada, spent for the next month and a half spending time with my family. So I don't have my typical setup, which means I don't have my typical photos, microphone, etc. So I do apologize for that, but I definitely still nonetheless want to be here to talk about the show with you guys, okay? So I still will do my best. Now, we pick back up this episode with Ken the scammer claiming that he was never enamored by Gypsy Rose's fame, which is just such BS, right? As if he didn't reach out to Gypsy based on her press. It's just, I really don't understand why these guys all try to act so above fame seeking and stuff when that very obviously is what they were doing. Like, you didn't just stumble upon her out in the wild. You heard about her story. You knew she was famous for what it is that she did. You knew she was in prison. You went, you found a way to contact her. You're a groupie, just like Ryan's a groupie, okay? Now, remember last week's episode, we saw Gypsy fighting with Ryan because Gypsy had spoken to her sister, who was a nurse, about the fact that she may have been pregnant because Ryan shot up her club and did not pull out. Right. And so he was upset about this. We saw Gypsy filming the fight to give us content for the show. And now this week we find out that she also sent a copy to her sister and they spoke about the fight. I'm sorry, Gypsy, but that was rather trifling in my opinion. I do think that that was something she should have kept between herself and her husband. But again, Gypsy Rose is still kind of like a teenager, right? She never really had a full-blown adult life. And so that's why she acts the way that she does. And of course, Ryan confronts her about the phone call after she hangs up. I don't think he heard what went down. He just knew she was on the phone. And because Ryan has become super duper insecure and clingy ever since the whole Ken thing, remember, look at this picture of him just hovering over her while she's texting. He asked Gypsy who she was on the phone with, what they were talking about and stuff. And it feels like the more he panics and tries to get a stronger grip on Gypsy, the more he loses her. And it's just so crazy to watch it play out in real time when we know from especially the most recent announcement, which is that Gypsy is pregnant, we know how things turn out. So it's really just sad to watch him contribute to the demise of their relationship. Mind you, things weren't looking too great for Gypsy's parents either. Her dad tells his wife, Christy, that he feels like he hasn't really gotten a chance to get any one-on-one time with Gypsy. Everyone else around her seems to get it except for him. And, as he's trying to explain this, Christy keeps on cutting him off. And I think it's because she knows him so well. They've been married forever. They've got an adult daughter together. She could complete his sentences, right? And I think it wasn't out of being rude or anything. She's just oh, you speak slowly and I know what you want to say. So I just want to tell you already that you should try to put yourself out there to get that one-on-one time with Gypsy. I'm sure she wants the same, right? And he was upset about her cutting him off, but they got over it rather quickly. Now, let's get into how they feel about Ryan, Gypsy's husband. They feel and they start crying. They feel like Ryan has been monopolizing all of Gypsy's time. And Christy says that, hey, he's always talking about how he waited 2 years for Gypsy to get out of prison. But listen, dude, we waited 8. We loved and knew Gypsy long before you even got to know her. So please at least give us some time with our daughter as well, which I do think was a very, very fair thing to say. And I feel like it's even more for Gypsy's father because when her mother was around, there was a certain distance kept and then all the secretness surrounding her health and everything. So for him, it was Gypsy's entire lifetime. And so now this is his moment to really get that time with her. So Gypsy and Ken, they go on a date. And can I just say, first of all, I wish I had the time. Listen, here I'm staying at my sister's place, right? And I have a 9-year-old boss, which is my sister's son / my nephew. And he gives me a strict finish time every day because after 3 o'clock Eastern Standard, we have to play a game. Either it's like a jigsaw, not what do you call those puzzles that you put together with like a little, is it a jigsaw puzzle? I don't know. Or like Uno, or we're playing a video game, or we're going out to play racquetball. Like, so I don't have much time to go like, getting the screen caps and stuff like I usually do when I'm alone. So anyway, I wanted a picture of this because I just felt like, and I've been talking about how Gypsy just comes across as so like infantile, like so childish and everything, right? And this really, really proved my point, because what was Gypsy and Ryan's date? And it also made me kind of skeeved out about Ryan, because it's like, you're kind of grown, dude. And this girl, she speaks like a child. She sounds like a child. She laughs like a child. Her brain is like a child. And, it's just, how are you attracted to that? Like, I feel like that sets off alarm bells for me. And then the date that they go on was like some kind of giant bouncy castle house place. And I'm like, these are the places that we take my nephew to, like I, as a grown woman, I'm around Gypsy's age. I'm only 2 years younger. She's 32. I'm 30. I would not go to a bouncy castle as a date. I wouldn't have even done that when I was 25 or 20. Like, I'm a grown woman. What am I doing there? And then after they go to this bouncy castle, you know what they had for lunch? She had chicken nuggets and fries like a child. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is so weird. So weird. Anyway, over her children's meal, she confronts Ryan about the snarky comments that he makes about like her family, because he's getting really defensive now that he realizes that the family is starting to like sound the alarms about certain red flags that he has. And so he claims all those mean comments he makes about them are jokes. And then Gypsy says, listen, my mom used to do that. She used to talk mad about people. And then to cover her behind, she'd claim that they were jokes when that obviously wasn't the case. And at this point, like, we're only 6 episodes in, and this is like the third, fourth time that Gypsy has compared a negative trait of Ryan's to a negative traits of her mom's. And it's kind of like, girl, not you killing your mom just to marry her. Like, what are you doing? Like, obviously this man triggers you so much in that he reminds you way too much of your mother. Like, it's time for you to jump ship, because this is just not it. Now, speaking of jumping ship, Gypsy's fake teeth jump out of her mouth, because I didn't know that these front teeth were fake too. Like, I know when she smiles, the ones you see on the sides like are like, I wish my teeth were really this white, but it's the light. The ones you see on the sides are like metal, right? So I'm like, oh, they ripped these out. But then she's putting in her dentures and stuff. I'm like, oh, even these are fake. Like, that poor girl. Like, what? So she's getting ready to like refresh her smile and everything like that, which she totally deserves. Like, she's such a young girl. She should have like wonderful, beautiful teeth, especially with all the money she's pulling in as an influencer these days, right? So one thing that really made me uncomfortable, and I've always wondered, when it comes to these like medical procedures that she was forced to have, like, how is it that these doctors were taking the word of her mother this entire time and not just like diagnosing for themselves, So she's like, oh, like, my mom had my teeth taken away because she kept telling the dentist that I was in pain and that my teeth were rotting. I'm like, well, wouldn't a dentist be able to see like if your teeth were rotting? Like, is that not what they go to dental school for, to like see if teeth are healthy or not? Like, why would they take this random like, lady, her word for things? Does this lady even look like she takes care of her own health? I'm sorry, but like, let's be freaking serious here. When you think of Gypsy's mom and the state like, she was in. Come on now, right? Like, very, very strange that they were just, oh, you say she needs to get this pulled out. All right, let's pull it out. Oh, you say we need to shove a tube in her. Let's shove a tube in her. Like, what was going on over there? Very strange. Now, speaking of hospitals and doctors, we then find out that at a certain point, Gypsy and Ryan went to a hospital because Ryan was having stomach issues. To be honest with you, when Christy came over to the house and Gypsy said that Ken couldn't come out and see her because of his stomach issues, I thought it was an excuse, because at this point, Christy had already started like meddling in their relationship, telling Gypsy that Ryan was reaching out to her and stuff like that. Ken was upset. Ryan was upset about it. And he started making bitchy comments about Christy. So I thought he was just avoiding her. But no, it turns out that he's got stomach problems. The two of them went to the hospital to check them out. And that led to, people on TikTok and social media spreading rumors and lies that Gypsy was pregnant, that they had sources at the hospital that said that Gypsy was there like for pregnancy stuff. And that wasn't the truth, right? And it's especially interesting to like see this play out, a pregnancy storyline, knowing that right now Gypsy is indeed pregnant, not by her husband, but by her mistress instead. So yeah, that was rather wild. And at this point, like she and Christy then like leave the apartment to go on a walk with their dogs. And this is when Christy tells Gypsy, hey, Gypsy, like your dad really wants to spend one-on-one time with you. He feels like everybody's been able to have that opportunity but him. And he really like, yeah, you know, without Ryan, right? And we know Gypsy's dad seems to like Ryan and wants this marriage to work and wants Christy to butt out of it. But she doesn't mention that. She just says she wants one-on-one time without Ryan. And Gypsy seems to want this as well. She's like, I need my dad to step up as my dad. It seems like he's scared to be a dad, and that, like, you know, sucks. Which I totally understand what she's saying there, because it's like, dude, like, come on, this is your child. Speak to her, like, you know, on your own too, right? And so Christy says it's the reason why her dad doesn't impose himself is because he's scared of coming across as controlling, because Gypsy has been controlled by her whole life, right? By her mother, then we know the corrections officers, and now it seems like Ryan is her latest handler. Now, then we get into more about Gypsy's transformation. It seems as though Gypsy spends this entire episode trying to transform herself into Ken's dream girl. She's like, new teeth, who this? Blonde hair, who that? What else? Now she goes to the doctor, the surgeon, to get a nose job situation. So she's doing her consultation. And as we're like teeing up that storyline, I got really sad seeing the comments that people were leaving online about her. Like, I get that people do not like her and feel like she did a terrible thing and that there's no excuse for what she did. Okay. But you can't, like, you know, go on the internet and just like tear someone apart for their looks. Like, that has nothing to do with the stuff that Gypsy did, you know? Like, I don't get it. And like, you're attacking her because she thinks she's a bad person, but what are you if you're leaving these types of comments out there? Like, the comments were really disgusting. I was disturbed by the things that people felt like okay commenting to her. Like, it's really, really not cool. Like, a lot of people have rotten brains, if they even have brains in the first place. Like, what was that, you know? Now, it's crazy to me how Gypsy went from claiming that, and just as she talks to her mom after the consultation, like she's talking about, oh, this marriage is great. Like, I miss him when I'm away, when he's at work. Like, that's how I know this marriage is great. And I'm like, girl, how do you go from claiming all that to, in the same sentence, talk about, oh, I miss Ken. I woke Ryan up to tell him I miss Ken. He has my heart still and stuff. And then she goes into more detail about like her obsession with this Ken fella. And basically she's like, you know, like, I called him up 2 weeks before the wedding and I, you know, told him, like, if you think I'm making a mistake, if you think I shouldn't do it, now's your time. So this girl was basically begging her ex to tell her to like not marry this other guy so that they could be together. And she still thought it was a good idea to go ahead and marry Ryan. Like, girl, that's how you know there's something wrong with you. If you feel this way, call off that wedding and just beg for Ken back. There is no reason for you to involve Ryan in your mess. It really, really was unfair to Ryan. Yes, Ryan can be overbearing. Yes, Ryan has like neediness issues, clinginess issues, insecurities and stuff, but he didn't deserve to be with someone who's out here calling her ex 2 weeks before their wedding, begging him to give her a reason to call it off. Like, you know, if you're down bad like that, just leave the next guy alone. I really don't like selfish people like this who can't stand to be alone and instead just drag everyone down into like their nonsense with them. You know what I mean? And speaking of Ken, he gets another confessional because remember, he seemed to have reached out to these like producers to start talking about like Gypsy and his relationship with her on the show. And he's like, yeah, like when I called off our engagement and our relationship, I knew, because Gypsy is such a codependent person and now she was super famous, I knew that there would be like someone else that she could like replace me with, like, you know, a guy who was ready to cling right back to her and just like fill this role of like, you know, the codependent relationship that she was looking for. And this person might have ill intentions and stuff like that, right? And when the producer asked Ken the last time he spoke to Gypsy, he says that it was about when she left jail or something like that. He's like, yeah, like, I wish her the best and everything like that. I've been watching the interviews that she's been doing, talk about being devastated by the breakup. The last time I spoke to her was right before she got out, but now we're not in contact. So all I can say is I wish her like happiness and the best that life has to offer. Da, 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 da. I'm really excited to see like them together on screen for the first time, to see how all of that goes and to like know how much of this relationship we're going to get. From what I saw, there's a finale on, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's like the end of this month, the 22nd to be like exact. So I think we've only got like 2 new episodes, before it's over. So there's a lot that happens with Gypsy and Ken, right? Like we know that they get the matching tattoos. We know that like he shoots up her club. She gets pregnant by him. So it feels like that's stuff we're gonna get on a second season of this show. I do think the show deserves a second season. There's so much to follow, especially with like a baby on the way. So you know, I really am kind of like on the cliffhanger ending here. I really want to see how everything kind of like pans out. Now, back at home, Gypsy shows off to Ryan. She tells Ryan that she's going to get her nose job. She did a consultation. She tells him that she's going to get her hair done, her teeth done. She's going blonde, which, you know, obviously everybody knows Ken loves himself a blonde. So it feels like at this point, she just wants to start like leveling up in order to be like Ken's dream girl. And then at this point, Ryan tells us in his confessional that he's nervous about like Gypsy, you know, looking good, you know, doing her hair, doing her teeth and stuff, because if she starts looking better, she's going to start thinking she can do better than him. I don't want to be rude, but who's going to tell him? It's not going to be me, because I just said I don't want to be rude, but who's going to tell Ryan? You know, like when he said that, I was like, come on now. Anyway, at this point, we watch Gypsy get her hair done, her teeth done, and everything like that. And I'm especially happy for her about the teeth. Teeth are so important, like not just visually, but like functionality wise, like, you know, so I'm really happy that she got that done. Like hair, whatever. Like she had beautiful brown hair. Like it wasn't like, you know, a huge issue, whether it's brown or blonde, right? But the teeth, she needed those teeth, and I'm so happy that she got them. And it seemed to have been some sort of like an influencer deal, because she just like, you know, I was on my Instagram just before I started filming this, and I saw her make this post. I'll look it up for you. And she's like, you know, tagging the company that did the teeth and everything like that. And so like here you can see, you know, I liked it. And so she's like, thank you to at Peppermint Sage Dental. That sounds like a good toothpaste. And Dr. Michelle Swift Corcoran for restoring my smile. You have given me a level of confidence I never knew possible. And I imagine like, because she couldn't smile from the side for a long time because they were all like silver, and now she absolutely can. So good for you, Gypsy. Like that to me is everything. So I'm really happy for her on that front. And now it was really like kind of odd, because remember, Ken was like, oh, Ryan was like, oh my God, like what's going to happen when she starts glowing up? She's going to think she's too good for me. So as we're watching Gypsy get all of this like makeover done, she's basically talking about how her husband was her rebound. she's like, yeah, like, you know, I'm not able to give Ryan the affection that he deserves and stuff because my heart is still with Ken. Ken like unlocked my soul. You know, I love Ryan, but you know, Ken, he just unlocked something in me that I didn't even know I had. And again, Ken loves blondes. So it is no coincidence that trifling Gypsy is out here trying to go blonde for this man. And I'm sure Ken loves women with like, you know, fresh teeth and stuff like that, you know, young women who aren't wearing dentures. So maybe that's why she wanted to get them dentures out for him too. Oh, she is savage. But this is how, like, you know, women are. Like when we're ready to leave a man, girls, you know, like you start, for me, it's not a glow up because you know, I typically have my hair just like the same all the time, just like a nice curly fro sort of situation. And like, you know, I'm not, you know, I don't need it. I don't feel like I need anything to be done, but like I start planning things like, you know, for example, my last relationship, we lived together. So I started moving my stuff to a storage facility. I bought my little ticket to come to Canada to visit my family alone, so that when I come back and get a new visa to be back in France, I can like get my own new apartment to myself. Like it's like a process, right? So just watching her go through the process is like, girl, you are not fooling nobody, especially not another woman. So do you guys remember how Gypsy's dad wanted some one-on-one time with her? Well, she decided to oblige his request. She decided to go spend some one-on-one time with him over the weekend. Ryan was not invited. And I thought it was very weird when Ryan was talking to the producers. He was like, yeah, like her parents asked me to, you know, let them have her for the weekend. I was like, let them have her. I also watch Teen Mom, right? And this is the way they speak about like minor children, right? When it comes to custody situations. So for this grown man to be talking about, yeah, like I let them have her for the weekend. I'm like, you're so like controlling that you don't even realize that you are. Like the things that you say as if it's normal are so strange, you know, like that really was red flag worthy in my humble opinion. Now, I do have to say that I enjoyed watching Gypsy and her father go crab fishing. Louisiana is just such an interesting place. Like, I haven't visited the entire state. I only visited NOLA with my friends for New Year's back in 2019, I want to say. And we enjoyed our time there. We went, we did the little boat thing to like look for gators and stuff. Like, it's such a cool place. So it was nice to see that again. Now, Gypsy says that she doesn't really like, there's a lot of empty space when she's with her dad because they're not like used to speaking all that much. And I find it sad how she's like more at ease speaking with her stepmother than like her actual father. Like, I really hope that they're able to work on their relationship so that that gets fixed. Now, she tells her dad that she's been considering deleting her social media profiles because of all the harassment and hate she's been getting. Obviously, that's not the case. Like, you know, like I just showed you her Insta. She's like at like a couple, how many? I know her TikTok's at like 9 million, almost 10 million followers. Her Instagram is at how much now? Let me go take a look. 332. Listen, there is money to be made on social media when you've got a Gypsy Rose size following. She would be crazy to go ahead and delete all this. Like, she does not have education. She does not have experience in the workforce. She needs this in order to make a good living, and she can make a good living. So no, it wouldn't be smart. You know what would be smart? To not read the comments, to have someone else do the posting, right? So that you're far removed from the hate. I think that would be best for her, but obviously she's not going to do that. Then at the end of her day with her father, she decides to go call her husband for now, to kind of like, you know, catch back up and everything. And so when she's on the phone with him, he's like, immediately, the stage 5 clinger's like, and you can just hear him like mouth breathing on the phone. She's like, hey, and he's like, hi, stranger. Passive aggressive dig, right? Because she went away for a weekend. Ooh, a couple of days. He's gonna die, right? Like, so obviously she caught on to the passive aggressivity of it. And then afterwards, you know, she's trying to talk about like her day. She's like, you know, I had a great day with my dad. And then on the other hand, you've got Ryan. So you can't do video? You can't do video call? She's like, no, not right now. Listen, she could, but she doesn't want to. Why should she? You know, for what evidence? For your insecure ass, you know? And he's like, so why can't you do video? Is there someone there, you know, I mean, to see? And she's like, you know, rolling her eyes, so irritated because, dude, I'm with my dad. I'm having a one-on-one weekend with him. Can you put your insecurities to the side for 1 second? Like, you're so annoying. And she's like who? And then here comes her husband. I don't know who, but is it true? There's someone there, you know what I'm saying? He's just so annoying. She's like, you know what, child? I gotta go. Bye, I gotta go. And listen, Gypsy Rose, I would have done the same thing. Get the heck off my jock. Like, insecurity like that is just so annoying and so unattractive. Like, get out of here. Like, yes, the mom is trifling, right? The mom is trying to get her to break up with her husband. But at this point, she has not stepped out on him and she has not been in direct communication with Ken. So Ryan should have just like stopped. Like, he's like a boa constrictor like this with Gypsy and his freaking clutches. And the more he does this, the more she wriggles out to escape, dude. It's so toxic the way he's acting. Let me go back and post this picture of the way he's hovering over her text messages, asking her who she's texting a million times in the span of like a 5-minute drive, who she's on the phone with. Put me on video so that I could, like, it's too much. You lost her, dude. You know, yeah, Christy, she like set up the scene for you to start having these issues. But even without her, to be honest with you, we knew that Gypsy was still in love with Ken. It was never going to work, you know, but Ryan did not help things. You have to stand firm and be confident. And you know what you have to be as a person? And I'm always telling this to my friends because my friends are similar like this. I've got some friends who like, they will beg, plead, and cry for a piece of a man. And these are not just women because I've got like gay male friends who are like the same with men too. They're like, no, please love me. I'm like, no, you know what you do? You have to be in a point in your life before you date where you say, you can do whatever you want. You can cheat. You can do this. You can do that. You can cheat. You can whatever. But just know that as soon as you do this, my self-esteem is so high, I am going to walk away. I am not going to beg for you. I am going to walk away. That is what makes you attractive to people, not this begging, like insecure neediness, you know? So sorry, Ryan, but you played yourself on this. I do feel bad for him, right? With everything that like happened. And I think that Gypsy is really terrible for even like getting married to him, knowing that she was in love with someone else. But alas. Anyway, you guys, that was a recap of this week's episode of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup. I hope you enjoyed it. Per usual, I watched, thank God I still got my VPN to watch this. I watched using the Philo platform. And if you too would like to binge watch this show, and it's so good, I gotta say, make sure to check the description box of this video for my affiliate link that will give you a free 1-week trial for Philo. You don't have to sign up and pay unless you want to at the end of this. Okay, you guys? In the meantime, let me know what you thought about this episode. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.